to the PI show. My name's Harry Nowicki. I'm a personal injury lawyer. I'm here together with a colleague, Tony Carbone.
Good evening, viewers.
Another personal injury lawyer. I'm here together with Alice, who's another personal injury lawyer.
Hello, Alice.
And we've got a special guest, Bronwyn Hooper, who is a plaintiff who succeeded in a court action recently in Melbourne regarding a medical negligence
evening,
case.
Good evening.
Welcome and thanks very much for coming. It really is appreciated, Bronwyn. But before that, we'll go to what's in the news, Tony, and it's related to the topic of tonight.
Very interesting story about a 35-year-old mother, Harry, who had been watching TV and all sorts of things, and she wanted to undergo a makeover. And she had a tummy tuck, she had breast augmentation, she had liposuction, chin, arms, legs, all sorts of things. And it was an 8-hour operation at the Cabrini Hospital that went terribly wrong. She had to have another 20 operations after that because she had stomach infections, there was infections in the right breast. There was all sorts of things that went wrong.
Complications.
And she had 20 operations over 10 weeks, which is a lot of operations in such a short space of time. And she issued proceedings against the doctor involved, albeit I can't work out who the surgeon was from this article, and it settled out of court.
Yeah, so again, that was a case which is medical negligence, and there's a lot of barriers and hurdles to get over before you succeed with medical negligence.
Well, it's clear to me that it was a general damages claim for pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life and medical and associated treatment, and not loss of income. But the maximum she could get would be $450,000. So there's a confidentiality clause. We're not really sure what she got.
No, but it's settled out of court.
It did. It settled out of court
recently in Melbourne. But tonight we're discussing Bronwyn's case, where it's a sort of related to what was in the article, and this case ran in the County Court of Victoria. Judgment was delivered on the 19th of July this year. The case ran for 9 days.
That's correct.
Alice, you were involved in the court case?
I was, Harry. We spent a lot of time obviously preparing because it was such a long trial and there was a lot of evidence presented as well.
And Bronwyn, perhaps I can just sort of recite really sort of a bit of the background of what happened. I think you consulted you had a car accident in 85 and at the end you had 2 neck operations.
That's correct.
So that created problems with your spine, and there was the size of the breast were causing problems.
Yes.
With the spine, and you decided to consult a doctor about getting a breast reduction.
Yes,
and I think that
correct.
was in March 04.
Yes.
And then you had the breast reduction, and then things went wrong after that.
Yes, they did.
And then I think you told us that you then went to Tasmania and you consulted a GP down there, and the GP advised you that there was something that was negligent in what had happened.
That's right. I had continuous dressings for 6 months on a weekly basis after the operation.
Bronwyn, there was a reference to you having a hole in one of her breasts the size of a golf ball. That sounds pretty drastic.
Yeah, it was. The dressings my left breast was covered all the time, so I never actually saw it. And by the time I saw it in Hobart and they actually showed me by a mirror, it was a hole the size of the golf ball.
What was your initial reaction to that?
I was pretty astounded. I was stunned. And the doctors down there hadn't seen anything like it before.
And you had necrotic tissue, which means it was dropping off.
Yeah, I had dead tissue in it.
And how many operations did you then have to have after that?
I had 3 initially in September and October of 04. And then I had 3 other reconstructive surgeries done by Associate Professor Kimball.
And, all right, and then the matter, what happened was that the matter was issued in court, and there were a number of attempts to resolve the matter without a trial.
Yes, there was.
And those didn't succeed, and then the matter proceeded in June of this year.
That's correct.
Just on an issue there, Harry, I'd like to turn to Alice. Alice, what actually transpired in terms of trying to discuss it and try and
We had
resolve it?
a couple of mediations, Tony, which is a process where the parties meet together and trying to discuss the issues in the case with a hope of resolving them and coming to some kind of settlement. And as you said before, quite often you can come to a settlement. It is usually confidential, but usually everybody walks away happy. Unfortunately, in Bronwyn's case, despite several attempts, we really didn't get anywhere with our settlement negotiations. We found that the defendant doctor was very adamant that she hadn't done the wrong thing and that she was willing to defend her case right to the end.
Okay.
So, Bronwyn, unfortunately, unfortunately, the case did go to court. How long were you in the witness box for?
I was in there for, I suppose it would be nearly a day.
A day being examined, cross-examined.
Yes.
Now, the law firm engaged on your behalf a QC
That's
and a
correct.
junior. How did you find those?
Andrew Ingram and Philip Jew were fantastic.
Were they? So they took you through all the process.
Yes, they did.
And then in the course of the trial, you were cross-examined by a barrister. How did you find that?
I found it pretty grueling and intimidating.
Was it?
Yes.
And because you're asked a lot of questions about your past,
That's correct.
and you're asked a lot of questions about you really about the whole of your life, I suppose, not just about the issue in the case, which is
No, they tried to bring up a lot of my medical issues from the past, which had no relevance to the case at all.
yeah.
Bronwyn, the victims in this aren't only you. You've got a husband and
And
children
a son. And a son.
son. How did they cope with all of this?
They had a very hard time with it. I was away in Tasmania for 3 months, so I didn't see my husband or my son for 3 months.
And how old's the child?
Michael's now 25.
Okay.
He was 19 at the time, and I used to help him with his uni work, so it was really hard for him, and it was hard for
And was
my
the husband
husband.
supportive? Obviously, yes.
He was, but he was also very angry because the surgeon in Melbourne hadn't picked up on what had actually happened.
So you were in the witness box, and I think your husband gave evidence as well in the case.
Yes, he did.
And I think on your behalf there were 4 doctors called,
Yes.
and they gave evidence as well.
Were they all unanimous, Alice, in relation to what happened and what should have happened?
Tony, they were unanimous. We found that it was really about what procedure was performed at the end of the day and what was the least risky procedure to be performed on someone like Bronwyn, and we found our doctors were totally on our side in that sense.
Look, I think we'll go to that procedure just after the break because we've got to go to a sponsors break, and I want to thank Bronwyn for coming on board. So please, viewers, don't go away. Stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. Thank you.